let's just come into our little space so that we're ready for doing our tangle today. So let your arms just drop down by your sides. And obviously we may have been a little bit hunched over, so I'm just going to give a few little shoulder shrugs just to release any tension that I might have been holding. So I'm going to shrug my right shoulder. So a little shrug up and over, up and over, up and over. And then with my left, up and over, up and over, up and over. And then I'm going to shrug both at the same time, up, and then just let that fall down. And then just shake your arms out, right down to your hands, and let any tension just go out those fingers. All gone. Little shake. And then we'll start with our breathing. So if you could just take a deep breath in. And just let it go. Breathe in. And just let it go. And just one more. Breathe in. And just let it go. Okay. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to put my 4 little pencil dots in. And then I am going to use my ruler to just draw my square today. So I'm just going to join up the dots with my ruler. So if you want to breathe in and out as you're doing that, although it might take you a little bit longer to get the out breath if you're using your ruler. So, but just be conscious of just breathing normally as we start our little artwork today. Okay, and even though you're using a ruler, doesn't mean that your lines are going to be absolutely perfect, but they're just going to be at least a little bit straighter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 4 dots inside my square. And it's not going to be perfect. If you want to measure and have an exact space on each side, then please do that. But I'm just going to draw a line coming in inside my square so that I have a smaller square inside. So basically, just going to go on a little bit awry there. Have a square shape inside a square shape, basically. So as long as you've got something similar, that's absolutely fine. Okay. And I know it's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. I don't do perfect anyway. So, but roughly, we've got a square within a square. Okay. And that's our starting point. And in this larger square, I'm going to draw our Nayu shape. So this shape that we've just done, because it's fresh in our minds, we're going to pop it into this square. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a teardrop, and it's going to be reasonably sizable because of the size of the square. So I'm going to start with my teardrop. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it round and have my other little teardrop, and then over on this side have my other little teardrop, and then on this side have my teardrop. Okay, and then it's easier for me to just angle that to join up my little teardrop. So I'm going to come from the right here and join on to the right down here. Okay, and then I'm going to come from the left here and I'm going to join on to the left of that one. Okay, so you're kind of creating this H shape. And then we're going to do our aura, and you can make it as wide or as thin as you like, but just focus on that shape and the mark you're making. And then on the other side, we're going to do the same. We're going to aura the shape, come round and come back. And I should have said, make sure that your feet are firmly on the floor and your legs not crossed. For when we're doing it, we've got to be at our most comfortable. So then I'm just going to join up my lines, going across. So it's as if you're meeting, and it's like a ribbon and it's popping underneath. So it's like, imagine it's a ribbon and it's coiled up underneath. And so we're just joining that ribbon up. Okay, and so it doesn't matter. You've got to think it's a free shape. It can be wispy. It can be looped straight. It's just imagining that it's a ribbon. So it's flowing. It's fluid. Okay. So that's the start of our little grid now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do some lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to just do 4 little grid lines there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 little grid lines there. And just repeat that in each of the corners. Okay. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to just do a little orb in the middle of this, like that. Okay. And then I'm actually going to continue my ribbon out. So I'm going to come from this corner and just bump up to this point. And then I'm going to come from this corner and I'm just going to bump to create like a triangle shape. Okay. And then I'm going to just aura that. Okay, like that. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to come down and just bump into that and then just aura. Okay. So just work your way around. Just creating this shape. Okay. And then you can do a little circle in each of those triangles that you've created. Okay, just like that. And then in my outside bit, I'm going to create a grid. So you can, if you want to, you can do it in pencil to start with, but I'm going to come along from my outside square. Actually, let's reinforce that. So if you want to grab your ruler, we could reinforce our square in the middle. That's maybe better before we do anything else. So let's just reinforce by drawing in that square now in pen. Okay, and then I might actually just aura that as well. So I'll come out just a little bit and just aura that. Okay. And now I'm going to do a grid around the outside, but I'm only going to do a grid on the top and the bottom because in this section, in the middle section, I want to do that little natty. So I'm going to extend, and again, if you want to use your ruler, you can use your ruler to extend your frame out the full width like that, and extend this frame at the bottom out like that. Okay, so I've just extended, and as well, I'm going to firm up the outside lines as well. So if you want to just do that, we can just firm up the outside grid. So just come around that large square that we started with and just firm that up. Okay. Okay. So when these two little side pieces here, I'm going to do the natty pattern. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to come from the top and I'm going to do 3 lines and then 3 lines. So I'm just going to come from here and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I'm going to come and do my 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's going to be 4 of these going down, and then just do your little side curves just to create that. Okay, and I am just going to bring the bottoms of those lines in, okay, just so that it firms it up, and I'm just going to colour in the middle piece. Okay, just colour that in like so, and then I'll start again. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to do our 2 little wavy lines, and even though they are joined up, they are separate lines, just so you know that you are kind of doing 2 curves, and then just joining those at the edge. Okay, and then again, this time I'm going to do a little orb in the center and then colour in around it. Okay, like that. I'm just going to firm up my lines. Okay, and then 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And you're really focusing on these lines that you're drawing now. Okay, just concentrating. And then this one I'll just colour in. And then this one I'm going to do, so this is most likely just going to disappear into the border, which is fine. Okay, and then this one will be a little orb, and then just colouring in behind. Okay. So that's the kind of pattern we've got. Sorry, just having a drink. Okay, so I'm going to repeat the same on the other side. And to be fair, well, I was going to say I'll turn it upside down, but that'll look different. So I shall just be careful when you're doing it that your ink isn't wet on this pattern here. Okay, and also because you've been colouring in, you might have inky hands. So we're going to start doing exactly the same thing on this side. So we'll repeat of the pattern. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 lines, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we're going to bring up our little curves. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll just bring my lines down to meet that because I've just gently, and then curve your edges. So just get a curve going, just so it looks kind of like it's continuing round. And then this time I'm going to do an orb in this one and colour in behind, just so it's the opposite of what's on the other side. So this one's going to be an orb, and then the next one I'll colour in. So then I'm going to do my 3 lines, and then my 3 lines, and then my little wavy lines. And just let it flow. And then we'll do our joining up at the end with a little curve. And then I'll just bring those lines so that they're going to come the whole way down, just to tidy that up. And then this time it will be fully coloured in. Okay, and then the next one, and then this time it will be an orb. And then the last one. All right, so that's our little shape there going down those two sides. And now I'm going to make a grid pattern down these two sides. So feel free to do that freehand, or you can use your ruler to do the grid. So I'm going to have my grid coming along from here to create the first square. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So where that frame edge is, I'm just going to come out and then come down. And then from there, I'm going to split my, I'll probably just, oh, well, it's my, I'm just going to make little marks so that it's kind of even, because I've used a ruler the whole way through. So 3 little lines there. So if I just do that, so I've kind of got my grid shape going, and then I'll do the same down here just so that it matches up. So mine are basically 1/2 inch, if that helps. But obviously yours is going to really be the size of whatever your grid started with. So that's my grid pattern now, top and bottom. Okay. So there was a few grid patterns. Actually, there was one that I didn't show you, typical. It was called envelope. So I'm going to do, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a smaller one of these in each of these corners. Okay, so that's going to be my starting point. So, and I know it's going to be quite small, so that's why we did the first one as a large one. Hopefully it'll be easier. So I'm going to just do a little teardrop shape and a little teardrop and a little teardrop. Okay, and then turn it on its side, have the H shape, and then we're going to aura. I'm going to aura. And then I'm just going to draw a little line across to meet up. Oops, Daisy. Okay, so that's one in that one. And then I am going to just put little circles. So a little circle here, little circle there, little circle there, a little circle there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm going to start with a little teardrop shape. And don't worry if you touch your border or go over your border. You know the borders aren't fixed in stone. They're just there. It's your drawing, and you will put the border where it is, but it doesn't mean that you can't cross over the border. So please don't be worrying about that. And I'm going to come round and aura that, and then come round and aura that, and then we're just going to meet those, and mine's very small on this one. Okay, and then I'm going to do my circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then turn my thing over, my towel round, always making sure that it's comfortable for you. We're just doing little small it's just a little small version of what we did in the center. And then just meeting up and meeting up. So your ribbon's going to go join up where it has to meet. So they're all going to look different because you will have drawn yours slightly different to me. And then we're going to do the last one in this corner. Pen's quite thick, so hopefully that's not been an issue for you today. And then meet up and then do your circles. Okay. The last one I'm going to show you is, and we didn't do this, so I do apologize, we didn't do this as part of our starting session, but we're going to just do a little sort of flan saucer shape. So it's similar to one we did last week. So it's a little flan saucer. And then we do a little flan saucer the other way. Okay, like that. And then you're just going to do little lines that are curved along there. So little lines that are curved. Okay, like that. So we're going to do a little flan saucer shape. Okay, and then a little flan saucer. And then you're going to do your little curved lines. And by doing curved lines, it gives it like a shape. So it looks more like it's kind of a round shape. Because if you just did straight lines, it would just make it that whole two-dimensional, three-dimensional thing again. By doing the curved lines, we can actually make the 2D shape look 3D. So again, we're going to do our little flan saucer. Okay, and a little flan saucer. Like that. And this one's called envelope, but there's no E. It's just N and then envelope. But I think it's an easy enough one not to have to have done practice for this one, I don't think. I hope so anyway for you. And then we're going to do our flan saucer. And then on the opposite. Okay. And then our little lines. And just remember to breathe normally. And you're just focusing on that mark that you're making on your tile just at this minute. Taking your time. Okay. Now, you can colour in the background of these, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to colour in like the little triangles that are created here. So I'm just going to colour in that one and that one. And leave the other two. So I'm just going to create like a, probably like a square really, or a diamond in between them. So just colouring these two. You don't have to do any colouring. You can colour the opposite, the top and bottom if you want. I just kind of think it's given it like a totally different look, and it's just showing you how you can change the design of something just by adding colour. So it's taken on a totally different look. So then this last one also will have to be coloured in. Okay, so it's just showing you different things that you can do. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip it round, and then I'm going to do the same. So we're going to start with our little flying saucer. Okay, on one diagonal, and then a flying saucer. I'm going to have to change my pen, I think. Flying saucer on the other. So it's just so flying saucer on that one as well, and then do your little lines. Oops, sorry, I've gone out of focus there for you. So just adding in your lines, just like we did on the other ones. Just making them curved, because that's what's going to give it shape. Okay. And then we're going to do our little flying saucer. And then on the diagonal. Sorry, I think of all these words to call these things. Flying saucer, it'll be forever known as that now. It's just to try and help you sort of visualize the shape that you need to draw. Okay. This would probably be a good one to have with your colouring pens, you know, if you had coloured pencils or pens to do. I could imagine it would look pretty cool in different colours. Okay, and then I'm just going to do exactly the same as I did in that on the opposite side. I'm just going to colour in the little triangles to create diamonds in the middle of the pattern. But as I say, you can do the opposite side, the top and bottom. You don't have to colour, and you could even colour in the middle if you wanted. You don't have to colour any of it. It's your drawn, and you have to make it, you know, right for you. Okay, so now you've got this little interesting pattern going on now. There. So I'm kind of happy with that, to be fair, and I think I'll do some shading now. And I know I've got white space in the center, and I know that you can fill all of this up with tipple and different things if you wanted to, but I don't want to do that. I want to kind of have that as a kind of standing out thing. So for my shading of this, I'm going to just come in and I'm going to shade inside the this little bit, the loop. Sorry, I had to think of the word there that I needed. I'm going to shade inside the loop to start with. So I'm just going to go around and put a little bit of pencil just inside my loop as a starting point. Okay, so just one side of it. And then I'm also going to go and I'm going to put some pencil to the side of the triangle on the inside. So just working around and putting a line of pencil just on the inside of the triangle. And remember as well that it's not, you're not thinking about light and shade, you're thinking about giving it depth so that it can kind of pop off the page and look more 3D. So I'm just going to go around and shade where I've put that pencil mark, but always leaving some white. Okay, that's the most important thing, is always leave some of your picture white so that you're just adding depth. So going around, just doing the bottoms of my triangles. Okay, and then I could also as well come in and just do the underside as well of this, so kind of coming along and shading. So I'm going to shade on the bottom and on the right, and I'm really going to pull that out. So I'm going to shade just at the bottom like that. So as I say, always just trying to give it more depth, so to kind of get it to pop off the page. And you can really you know, go quite hard on the shading just to make it look like, well, it is, as I say, always to give it that 3D look. And I can come around this bit. Okay, and then a little bit heavier on the bottom as well, I think. Just pulling that out. And around. Okay, so that's kind of making it more popping off the page. And then in my little diagonals, I'm just going to shade so that I've got a light one and a dark one and a light one and a dark one, basically just giving it a little bit of a diagonal stripe. And that's really just to give it interest. No other reason really, other than just giving it a little bit of interest. Okay, so I might actually even go up along that top edge so that it's all shaded on the right. And then we've got that sort of other light. Yeah, I like that actually. Now you can come in as well and add shading just on the inside. So going around this middle bit, So just very gently to start with, because you can always add, but you can't take away. So just come around the edge of your ribbon and just add a little bit of blending. And as I say, if you wanted to go heavier, you can. But I think this is kind of taking on the look of a sort of brooch, sort of like a medallion-y style thing now, I think. So then on my little circles, I can just give a tiny bit of shading on one side to kind of make it look sphere-like. So just coming in, I need to get my smaller torso out really, but just giving that depth. If I hold that up, you can kind of see, especially in the middle one, how it's got a bit of depth now, just by adding that little bit of pencil on that right side, and you leave the other side light. Okay. So I'm kind of happy with that, to be fair. That's okay. I think I'll leave that. Now with your natty one, this natty one, it's basically a choice whether you want to shade the center bits going in or whether you want to shade the bits coming down and leaving the center bits. I think I'm gonna let's just see if we kind of shade in the middle here. Because it's always a kind of let's do it and see what happens. So I'm just going to come down the middle. Yeah, I like how that is. I think just that middle bit makes that look even more like it's kind of going around. So it's sort of giving it a more of a rope idea, feeling, a rope feel, I would say. So just shade in the middle. And I'm going to do that on both sides, and then I'm going to decide where to go next. So shade in the middle. Blend that out. Yeah, I like that. And then you can also, if you wanted to, come in and just shade around the edge, just on one side. Again, just to give it a little bit more placement really on the paper. So just shading along your border. And you can do the same on the other side. Just give it a little bit of shade along the border edge there. Blending it out. Okay, in fact I might go the other side as well. Just to soften the white. So I'm not doing a heavy shading on the inside, I'm just doing a very light shading because just so it's not as white, and it will make the kind of rope edge sort of pop a little bit more. And I think I am actually going to shade my frame that's in it, the first frame that we did, just around that. I'm just going to come in and just shade the frame, just so that kind of gives it a border, like a really defined border, to say, hey, look at this. Okay, and it's really just all about drawing your eye into where you want to draw your eye into. So you can see here I've got really white space now because I've kind of added some pencil into other areas on the tile, and it's just drawing the eye into this lovely center medallion. But also you're being drawn, if you look at these side pieces, they are popping a little bit, which is what you want. So on the envelope, I think I'll just shade the middle. So I'm just going to come along and just darken down the middle bit so that the sides pop So I'm just going to come in, and you could draw a little square around and just blend that out a bit. Where's my smaller? Okay, because I kind of like the white, the contrast of the white triangles against the black triangles that we've done. So just by shading the middle bit, obviously if I leave it, you're pulled immediately to those squares. So it's really what you want the person that's looking at this, what do you want them to be drawn to? And I want them to be drawn more to the triangles than the squares, but you might want them more drawn to the squares. So if you want them more drawn to the squares, then shade your triangles. Okay, so I'm just leaving a little bit of white in those squares still. I'm not completely colouring them. There's a little bit of white there still to pull your eye in. Okay, and then on my little tangles in the corner, I'm just gonna shade around the outside of those because they're quite small. So I just really want to give it a little bit of shade just all the way around it, just so it's not stark white. And it's very small anyway, so there's not really a lot. But it's just to take away the whiteness. So I'm literally just, I haven't even put any pencil down. I'm using what's on the turtle on at the minute. So it's very, very light shading. And the circles I'm leaving white. So I want the little circles to pop. Okay. So I think I'm actually reasonably happy with that, to be fair. Yeah, I like how that's turned out. Just doing a bit more. So once you're happy with your shading, you would like to really find a little spot that you can add your initials. Let's just see where we can put that today. Look around for a little space. I don't know where I'm gonna, oh, maybe just a little one of my little triangles. I'll just have a little BB in. Just in that little triangle just there. Okay. And then I really want you to have a look at this. So hold your tile at arm's length and just turn it each way, because as I say, there's no top and bottom with Zentangle. So you're going to appreciate it in all four directions. Okay. And then we can have a look and see how, oh no, before I need to sign it, don't I? Oh dear, running away with myself. So I'm going to put my name, I have to get rid of that pen, and today's date is the 12th. And we have done, oops, Daisy, I've got a little spider. We have done, that one that we did that I didn't tell you about was envelope, like that. We have done Nayu, which was the big medallion in the middle. So Nayu. And we did Natty. That's it, isn't it? So Natti, envelope, Nayu. Yeah, I think that's it. And everything else we've done was just little tangulations to embellish, so the circles and things. Our little orbs and things were just little tangulations. So that's our tab.